We'll call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Present.
Felder,
Present.
Whitman,
Excused?
Coangeli, Vining, Germaini,
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Present. I'd ask so we all please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Give us the strength to manage the challenges ahead, the wisdom to identify opportunities as we strive to serve our community. And as we make decisions, grant us the gift of an open mind, the willingness to learn, and the humility to accept the ideas of others.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is approval of regular agenda.
I don't see no of any adjustments or amendments. See if council has any. If not,
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the regular agenda.
Second.
motion by Councilman Felder, supported by Councilman Moore to approve the irregular agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Yes.
Coangeli,
Yes.
Germaini,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and for approval of payments to vendors, the amount should read $1,712,399.83, 1712399.83.
Thank you. Are there any items on the consent agenda that council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Any items on the consent agenda those present here this evening wish to have pulled for further discussion? Seeing none, a motion would be in order. Councilor Felder?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion. All the items on the consent agenda be approved, carried out, and that the clerk record them.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilman Felder, that all items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, and recommendations carried out. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder, Coangeli,
Yes.
Germaini,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is under presentations, communications, and public hearings. Item 3333, MACP accreditation presentation.
Thank you. I see that Chief McCormick is coming forward. Mr. Pastu?
Let's have the chief handle the introduction. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor and Council, Charles McCormick, Chief of Police. We'll be joined here with our accreditation team. We have the accreditation manager, Tyler Dickerson, Therese Herrick, and J.D. Wall. And we also have representatives from the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. Our current president, Chief Wiles from Grand Lake Township, and one of the directors of the MACP, Neil Rosso. So certainly a very exciting day for us, a tremendous amount of hard work that went into this accreditation over the last couple of years. And as we all know, just, the challenges, some of the, probably some of the worst times in MPD history that we had to navigate while still accomplishing this achievement. So just hats off to the group. They were the ones who did all the work, and certainly the agency as a whole who provided all the details for the proofs that got us here today. So I think without further ado, I'll ask MACP representatives to head on up. So
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, thank you for the opportunity. It is certainly a pleasure to be here on such an important day as today. My name is Ron Wiles. I am the Chief of Police, Grand Lake Township Police Department, which is in Genesee County, and the current president of the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. As president, one of the things I get to do is tour the state and visit many police departments, and I can tell you, you have a very good police department, and it was just made better through achieving this accreditation. Accreditation is a significant professional accomplishment. We don't just give these out, they have to earn them. Multi-year process to get through this. Just to put it in a little bit of perspective, there are about 600 police agencies in the state of Michigan. Currently, there are 40 accredited agencies. The Monroe Police Department is the 38th accredited agency. So your police department has accomplished something that 93% of the other police departments in the state of Michigan have not accomplished. Like I said, we don't give these out. These recognition awards, they are earned. And the hard work, time, and commitment it takes to do that, I can tell you firsthand, and what Monroe has done here to achieve this. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Director of Professional Development, Neil Russell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. It's truly my privilege to be here. It's my honor to be here. I apologize for my executive director's absence tonight. We had a prior engagement. So I'm here to represent the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission. We're all somewhat familiar with accreditation because we have accredited schools that our kids go to, and hopefully you went to an accredited college, and hopefully you have accredited hospitals that treat you. So it involves an outside agency that's close to the profession that sets standards. Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission sets 108 standards. And when I say there's 108 standards, I think it's important that I point out that within those 108 standards, there's about 430 tasks or accomplishments that they have to do. As I stand here and I tell you it was a lot of work, I try not to minimize it because it's a lot of work. And when I talk about the program, I say that it's attainable, and I don't stress that it's a lot of work too much, so they become involved. Took them a little over a year, maybe a year and a half to get accredited. And what they have to do is, I already mentioned those 108 standards. They have to weave their written directives through those 108 standards, meet all the bullets. And the key to that is not only do they have to create written directives that meet the standards, but they have to create a thing we call proofs, so that two outsiders can come in, look at these proofs, be convinced that those proofs are telling that they're following the directives that follow the standards. Standards are national and state best practices. And I was a police officer for about 37 years, and one of the neatest things I get to do is come into someone's town and tell them they have a very good, if not a great, police department. So certainly my pleasure to be here, and I'll turn it back over to the president to present the award.
Thank you.
Yeah, it should be noted that the compliance with 108 standards is voluntary. No one had to tell them to do this. They took it upon themselves to do that to make themselves better, provide a stronger department, safer community, and better serve the residents of the city of Monroe. So Chief, if you please join me up here. To all who see this certificate, know that the Monroe Police Department, having voluntarily complied with the standards established by the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, deemed essential for the delivery of professional police services and the protection of their community, is hereby awarded the Certificate of Accreditation, effective this first day of October, the year 2021, for a term of 3 years. Chief, congratulations. Thank you, Chief.
I see the smiles because I know all the hard work and dedication to get through that process. And Chief, go ahead.
No, just, thank you again. Thank the team. Thank you to the NACP for coming down and presenting this. It was a lot of hard work, and it's a beautiful award. So we really appreciate it. And again, just maybe fitting that I know tonight's I think the second reading for the retirements, and it was so important to me to leave this place in a fantastic place, and I know I've done that. So just really happy, really proud of this award. So thanks, everybody.
You should be.
Chief.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
You guys want to talk?
I know I speak on behalf of the entire council as well, but congratulations, job well done. And I know that there may be comments later from the council in our comments time, but well earned and deserved. So thank you all, and thank to all the members of the department, and thank you for your getting us through this as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 3337, public hearing on proposed ordinance 21-010, and there are no comments on file in the clerk treasurer's office.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the public hearing regarding proposed ordinance 21-010. Any comments from those present here this evening for this public hearing? Any comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Your Honor, I'll move that proposed ordinance 21-010, an ordinance to amend section 12752 2021 early retirement incentives be placed on the floor for its final reading.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Michael supported by Councilman Lamore regarding proposed ordinance 21-010. Yes.
Whitman, I'm sorry, Angeli,
Yes.
Vining. Yes. Jermaine,
yes,
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Ordinance 21-010, Chapter 127, Retirement System Ordinance. An ordinance to amend Chapter 127, Retirement System Ordinance of the Code of the City of Monroe. The City of Monroe ordains.
Shall this ordinance pass?
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Angeli,
Yes.
Vining, Jermaine,
yes,
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3339, resolution regarding 2021 early retirement incentives for police and fire chiefs.
Mr. Pastu, introductions and then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
conversation.
We had talked about this at a special meeting on October 14th, but what the resolution does authorizes the manager to offer early retirement incentives for both the police and fire chiefs that include voluntary early retirement program along with the separation and release agreement, which are attached and made part of this resolution. It contains the conditions for both the fire chief and police chief related to their eligibility. And included in there is their separation agreement and separation and release agreements that include 9 months of severance. Standard with our department heads is 6 months, but clearly there's been a cooperation among both chiefs, which I think everyone would be very pleased with their professionalism and their assistance to the public safety director in this process. And so I'd ask that council consider adopting this resolution tonight.
Your Honor, I'll move to adopt resolution regarding the 2021 early retirement incentives for both police and fire chiefs.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Akalangi, supported by Councilman Lamore regarding item 3339 and the early retirements as stated. Any other comments from council? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder, Angeli,
Yes.
Vining, Jermaine,
yes,
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
The next item is item 3342, resolution regarding 2021 early retirement incentives for non-union employees.
Mr. Pastu?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, this is an item that we discussed back at our special meeting October 14th, but working through with our Personnel Committee and as part of the council goals associated with succession planning. Similar to the the recently adopted resolution, it does offer early retirement incentives for non-union personnel that are eligible to retire. It grants me as manager the authority to offer the voluntary resignation incentive to the non-union personnel who are eligible to retire as of January 1, 2022. Again, also authorizes myself to enter into separation and release agreements. And as a condition of that, there is a 1 year, additional year of credited service toward the pension and retiree health care for those that accept the voluntary incentive.
I'll move to adopt resolution 2021 regarding early retirement incentives for eligible non-union employees.
There's a motion by Councilman Akalangi, supported by Councilman Moore regarding item 3342, early retirement non-union employees as stated. No further comments. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Angeli,
Yes.
Vining, Jermaine,
yes,
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3340, proposed ordinance 21-011, amendments, chapter 22, boards, commissions, authorities, and committees to add article 12, board of review.
Thank you. Mr. Pastu, any introductions? I know we've chatted about this.
This item we've been discussing in some capacity over the last year. What it does is it amends the ordinance to change the composition in terms of office for the Board of Review members beginning in 2022. Members will serve 1 year term, and then thereafter odd years will be appointed for 2 year terms. It does allow for additional alternates to be appointed as well.
I understand there's training from the state that is applicable to that, and it's one of the reasons to move forward as we are.
Correct.
Thank you. If there's any comments from council, otherwise a motion?
Move that proposed ordinance 21-011, an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 Boards, Commissions, and Authorities and Committees to add Article 12 Board of Review to the Code of the City of Monroe, place on the floor for the first reading, set the public hearing for November 15th, 2021.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mikelangi, supported by Councilman Lamore on item 3340 regarding Chapter 22 Board of Review and actions as stated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Echoangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Jermaine?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Ordinance 21-011, Chapter 22, Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committees, Article 12, Board of Review. An ordinance to amend Chapter 22, Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committees to add Article 12, Board of Review of the Code of the City of Monroe.
Next item.
Next item is item 3341, Proposed Ordinance 21-012, Amendment to Chapter 22, oops, I'm sorry. Did I do the wrong one? Oh, sorry, I got confused for a second. Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committee, Article 14, Tree Advisory Commission.
Okay, Mr. Pesto, any introduction? I know we talked about this in our last work session and some movement forward.
Been made based on the comments from our last work session. So we just asked first reading and move, schedule public hearing.
Very good. Council?
Your Honor, I'll move that proposed ordinance 21-012, an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committees to add Article 14, Tree Advisory Commission to the City Code of the City of Monroe, be placed on the floor for the first reading, and that the public hearing for the second reading be scheduled for November 15th, 2021.
Motion by Councilman Mikelangi, supported by Councilman Felder on item 3341 regarding proposed ordinance 21-012 for the Tree Advisory Commission. Clerk?
Councilperson Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Echoangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Jermaine?
Yes.
Mayor Clark? Ordinance 21-012, Chapter 22, Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committees, Article 14, Tree Advisory Commission. An ordinance to amend Chapter 22, Boards, Commissions, Authorities, and Committees to add Article 14, Tree Advisory Commission of the Code of the City of Monroe.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 3335, Quinn Evans Architects Proposal, River Raisin Heritage Corridor Master Plan Update.
Mr. Pastou.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to ask Mr. Cochran to provide just a quick overview of what we're requesting for approval tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Cochran?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Mark Cochran, Assistant to the City Manager and Economic Development Director. Previously, I brought forth some discussion that had taken place at the River Raisin Heritage Corridor Commission to seek out proposals to update the River Raisin Heritage Corridor Master Plan due to a variety of factors. When the plan was established back in 2010, the National Park Service had yet to establish permanent and operational operations here in the city. And so over the past course of the almost 12 years since that plan was established, we've made a lot of progress toward implementation of the original master plan, as well as procuring a lot of original source documentation. And we know a lot more now than what we knew back in 2010. So much as we do the city's overall master plan, we did seek out a proposal from Quinn Evans Architect to update the Heritage Corridor Master Plan. The Heritage Corridor Advisory Commission had established a committee to review the proposal that Quinn Evans had submitted, and they did at their meeting this month provide a recommendation to City Council to approve Quinn Evans to update the master plan, and they also established a committee to work on that project, including two of the commissioners, Josh Myers and Barbara Krieger, Councilman Echoangeli, Adam Seipolt, who's a resident of the Mason Run neighborhood, who has expressed a lot of interest in the master plan and how that may impact both his family's quality of life as well as the neighborhood. And the commission also had discussion and desire to add another resident from the area to that committee, as well as a member of the Planning Commission and a member of the board of the River Raisin Heritage, or the River Raisin National Battlefield Foundation. The cost of the proposal did come in at $48,356. Council had approved in its budget this year $40,000 for this project. And so we went to the Battlefield Foundation, and their board did approve covering the remainder of that cost as well. So we look forward to their participation. So just bringing the proposal forward tonight for City Council's approval.
Thank you, Mr. Cochran. Any questions or comments from council for Mr. Cochran? Thank you. So nothing further. Motion regarding item 3335.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve an agreement with Quinn Evans Architects to complete an update of the River Raisin Heritage Corridor Master Plan in an amount not to exceed $50,000 and authorize city manager or his designee to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Monroe.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilwoman Germaini on item 3335 regarding the professional service or the agreement with Quinn Evans for the update on the corridor plan. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Echoangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Germaini?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3316, Father Carnes Park Design Professional Services Award.
Thank you. Mr. Pastu?
Thank you, Your Honor. This item was discussed during the first meeting work session in September, and we're requesting council approval of a professional service contract with Russell Design in the amount of $425,000. Also asked for additional allocation of $10,000 for reimbursable expenses and another allocation for $14,500 for topographical survey. Total amount is $449,500. We've already budgeted some funding for this and asked approval for the remaining balance to start the process for this project. I do think that we're probably on our way to resolving the overhead line issue over on the northeast corner of the property, so that in the design itself will reflect what was part of the 2017 park plans that was approved by council.
Mr. Pastu? There's no questions for administration. Council Michelange?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Just for the information to the public, the Father Carnes Park design is one of our legacy park projects that was, the master plans were developed probably 5 or 6 years ago by the Park and Recreation Commission. The park is been designed as the kind of the park that's going to handle a lot of our court play. So the park includes pickleball courts, basketball courts, tennis courts, off-street parking. Plus on the corner of 8th and Union, there would be a neighborhood playground for the children, plus a water feature as well. So like I said, it's a legacy park. It's very similar to what we did at Labor Park, and it's part of the plans that we have in store in the future for St. Mary's Park, Munson Park, and Manor Park as well. So with that being said, Your Honor, I'll move that we approve the professional service contract with Russell Design in the amount of $425,000 for design and construction management, $10,000 for reimbursable expenses, $14,500 for topographic survey, for a total of $449,500. Authorize the Director of Engineering and Public Service to authorize and execute any of the necessary agreements on behalf of the city, and that the Finance Director be authorized to transfer $378,000 from the Capital Improvements Fund.
Motion by Councilman Michelange, supported by Councilwoman Vining on item 3336, the Father Carnes Park and Professional Services Contract. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore?
Yes.
Felder? Yes. Echoangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Germaini?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item.
The next item is item 3343, City Attorney Supplemental Retainer Agreement, Code Enforcement.
Thank you, Mr. Pastu, and then maybe Mr. Budsman have any comments too?
Thank you, Your Honor. City Administration is requesting council approval of a supplemental retainer with the city attorney for code enforcement Administration is focused and council its efforts by implementing a blight sweep program in the southwest corner of the city, establishing monthly meetings with the Construction Board of Appeals regarding dangerous buildings, and recently the council authorized legal action to address a number of blight violations. It's an ongoing structured process in which building and code personnel move unresolved citations to the city attorney's office for action. The retainer in the amount would be $2,900 per month, and the supplemental retainer would terminate June 30th, which corresponds with the city attorney's retainer termination date at that point. The resolution also, our agreement designates Jean O'Brien as the Assistant City Attorney for Code Enforcement. She has worked with our building department on the sweep project already. And just so for the council as well as the public to give perspective, many communities have separate retainers with their city attorney to provide, if you will, code enforcement and or prosecution services as well. And I use the example when I was in a community in Oakland County with half the population and probably a quarter of the code problems. We allocated almost $80,000 a year for that purpose. So this is, in some ways, a small amount relative to that, and I think certainly a direction that I've heard as manager that council would like us to be more aggressive in moving forward. So with that.
Thank you. I think probably should have action by council, and then we'll chat with Mr. Buds. And
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to move to approve the supplemental retainer agreement with Moore Buds Law PLCC for code enforcement, and designate Jean M. O'Brien as the Assistant City Attorney for code enforcement, authorize the transfer of the cost and the agreement from the general fund contingency.
Motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Lamore, on item 3343, the city attorney supplement retainer agreement as stated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Felder? Yes. Ikwangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Yes. Germaine?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. So I'll see if Mr. Buds, if maybe some comments or introductions, and I know that you've been here during our discussion, so I know you know what council is looking toward and how we get there.
Sure, Your Honor and Council, I just want to say thank you for the supplemental agreement. Obviously, we'll continue forward with that, with the services to prioritize the code enforcement and blight issues. Jean O'Brien is with us here. I'll say I've known Jean, I can say from the beginning of my career. We worked together at a prior location as well. Jean has a substantial background in the field of litigation, and so I think she'll bring both a practical view as well as the necessary hammer if we need it to move forward on some of the blight issues. I look forward to obviously working with her, continuing to work with her. And for those that don't know, she's already been behind the scenes and working on some of these issues, particularly with the blight sweep. And so I look forward to her kind of taking the lead as far as those code enforcement issues, and we'll continue to report back from there. Happy to answer any questions that any of you have.
Thanks. Councilman Michelangelo?
I love the term hammer. But for the length of time that I've been on council, and I know the mayor too, and many of the people on council, this is really kind of long time coming. Actually, for me, it's kind of like an early Christmas present, because we really have, the council has really struggled with code enforcement. And I think that with the guidance that Mr. Pastu has given the city and the services that Mr. Buds has provided, it's really we started really now targeting on this issue. So I think that, from the council perspective, this is a really good step forward. So I look forward to seeing what Ms. O'Brien can bring to the table. And based on what Mr. Buds has said, we really look forward to your expertise and your guidance on this matter.
Thank you. Other comments from council? So I'll just say welcome, Gene. It's a pleasure. I think I'm glad that council, we've had this discussion, and it's been a discussion for quite a while, but even in the past. But, just as Councilman Michelangelo said, we always start with our information communication with those that have issues. We do that as the way we should start. And from there, we're looking for compliance. When compliance doesn't get there, there's notices, and then, of course, then it's the action, and I guess the term hammer. So, but the idea is that there takes that enforcement action. It unfortunately has to be, but there's many steps that lead to that. But we've been at the end with a few, and we recognize that that's where we have to go sometimes. So I appreciate council will move forward. And thank you, Mr. Buds. Welcome, Chief,
You're welcome.
for being here today.
I have no further items.
No further items. Council comments? Councilman Lamore.
Thank you, Your Honor. First off, I'd like to congratulate Julie from the Parks/DPS departments on achieving her retirement today. She officially retired today. She'll be sorely missed, a great worker. Boy, just what a great example for the rest of the city employees to follow. She did a lot of hard work for the parks and the DPS, and I just wanted to let her know that we appreciated everything she did for the city. Congratulations to the Monroe Police Department on their MACP accreditation. Achievement of one of 40 departments in the state of Michigan that actually achieved this out of total 600 departments. That's incredible. So thank you for their hard work in getting that achieved, and we definitely appreciate that as well. And that's all, Your Honor. And also good luck to all the candidates tomorrow that are in the race. Thank you.
Council Feller.
Just a gentle reminder for all of our residents at home to take the opportunity to vote if they haven't already. That's all. Thank you.
Excellent. Council Michael
Thanks, Your Honor. I wanted to bring up to the attention of the manager and the Director of Engineering and Public Services that should we start thinking about maybe having a conversation with Waste Management, because the leaves are not falling yet, and it's November 1st. And I'm afraid that what's usually the target date for the last pickup is the first week in December? First full week. Should we be looking at extending that maybe into the second and third week of December? Based on what's going on. I mean, I just don't see leaves falling. And so
there may have been some conversations. I'll see if Mr. Pastu, if you.
Conversation of extending it, Mr. Lewis and I were just talking about the LEAF program. The bags were done with distribution. We're out, but we are taking yard waste through the end of the week of December 6th. But Mr. Lewis and I will talk a little bit about whether with Waste Management about considering extending it and having them. Maybe there's a point in time we'll have to pull the trigger. Sometimes they come down all at once, and so we'll see.
yeah, I thought maybe we should monitor. I think last year we had to extend it a week, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
The other comment I have, Your Honor, is I see Director Tolstead here, so he's been on the job for 3 weeks. I thought maybe give him the opportunity to come up and just tell us how it's going.
Director Tolstead.
City Manager, Mr. Michelangeli. So far, the first 2-3 weeks have been busy. Getting to know the operations for on a higher level for both police and especially fire have been busy. I've met with Monroe Township Fire Chiefs, Chief Cherney and his Assistant Chief, Mr. Broman. Also met with the Fire Chief of Frenchtown, Wendy Stevens, and had good conversations with them and explained the program going forward. Kind of got rid of some misnomers and some rumors that were going on with regards to the PSO program and how we were going to proceed forward. Chief White has been excellent to work with. Has been an open book and has been very helpful in moving forward. We got some things working in the background, knowing that there's pending retirements on the police side of things. We are working towards starting a promotional list as well. So the first 2-3 weeks have been busy, working on budget, getting ready for the next budget year. But so far, it's been going really good. Nothing but high remarks for the police department and their cooperation with me and the fire department as well.
Great, thanks. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thanks. Councilwoman Vining.
Yes, excuse my voice, I
That's
lost
okay.
my voice a little bit. At the boxing match, that was the professional amateur boxing match that was hosted at the Opportunity Center by Joe's ALCC Boxing Saturday night. So I've been doing a lot of screaming, but our two guys won. So I want to give a shout out to Derek Miller and Matt Nizelek. Hopefully I didn't mess up his last name. But they put on a great show. Not only did they fight and win, they actually did all the promotion and they did everything, everything from top to bottom. So I wanted to congratulate them on a beautiful show that they put on, and it was especially important to the neighborhood and to see the community center so full of life, like back in my day, how it used to be. So that was very exciting. I got to shout out Coach Ty Riggs, who just does the best job with the young people. Most of them call him Pops or Dad, so they have a great father figure in Coach Riggs, and also Coach Keith Vining and the staff, Manuel Hoskins at the Opportunity Center. So it was a great night, and I think it was a wonderful night for the city, and hope that we can do more events like that in the future. So I guess a lot of that ties into getting this new library built so we can get Joe's ALCC boxing a proper gym, just because I think we've failed them over the years, because they've consistently put out champs since way back when my grandfather was fighting in the 40s with Mayor Cappuccilli. So they do have a great program, and I hope we're able to help with that to accommodate a proper place for them to train soon in the future. Speaking of honoring great establishments in the city, we've talked about the naming policy for some time. I know the mayor, Mr. Felder, and myself met about that. So I'm just curious where we're at with that. The city of Toledo recently honored the Ransalling Group. And forgive me, I forget what the honor was, but they already have a street named after them, an honorary street in the city of Toledo. And now they just got another huge honor in the city of Toledo. And they've been in Toledo in their adult years, but they they were born and bred here in the city of Monroe. And as we all know, we lost Mr. Ransalling. It's 1 year ago. Yesterday is the anniversary. We began to talk about maybe recognizing him in the city prior to his untimely passing. So I just want to keep that in the forefront. Maybe ask the mayor or the city manager where we're at with the naming policy. I know we want to have a policy so that it's not so subjective in how we name things, and we can have an objective route to get there. So I just want to keep that in mind, because it pains me to see other cities recognizing their achievements, and we have not done that yet officially. And so I'd love to see that happen. Another big deal, I probably might be the only hip hop head in here, but the Wu-Tang Clan, I just found out last week that they actually sampled the Ransalling Group in one of their biggest hits called Triumph. So that's a big deal for us people born into the hip hop generation. So, I mean, the honors and the legacy that they have left, it shows internationally, nationally, and I'd like it to show locally as well. So yeah, that's the naming policy. And then just curious about where we are with the Orchard East sub area plan. So I know we got a lot of big things out of the way, so no, there's a lot of work we're still doing, but just an update on those things if you may. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll leave the update on the Orchard East sub-area plan with Mr. Pastu or Mr. Cochran. I can make comments to the naming policy. In fact, I'll just make it now and then we can move along. But so since Councilman Felder and yourself and I meeting, and just trying to gather information of some background of kind of from what we talked about, which was brief, but at least a start point. And we do need to get back together. But Mr. Cochran and I have kind of talked about that from time to time, and he actually sent something today. It came in about a policy that I thought had some foundation of what we were talking about and might be able to incorporate. So I will forward that to both of you. I said just came in today, just as a background, and then we'll reset a a time here before the Thanksgiving holiday, and we'll look at each other's schedules. I'll send some dates that might be available. We can sit down and maybe regroup on that and work ourselves through the holiday season. I think we can have some ideas that how we may move forward. And as we talked about, is some are naming that might take I'm not saying easier look. It might be present for what it is and how it is that we could move forward, and others might take a longer conversation. One of the items, a couple of the items that were in this proposal was community input, and it's almost like a public hearing. So the community has the opportunity to come and say, well, did you know this? And I think, or I support in this reason. So it generates the conversation that we want to have beforehand instead of after something getting named and then learn something or hear something. And it just, so I think there's a couple of really good things that I thought was in there. And I'll forward this along, and then I'll have Ms. Weaver send a date for us to meet again here within this month before the Thanksgiving. Sound good? All right, thanks. And I'll leave the other one to the manager. I know that he'll be probably maybe sending something out to us, because I don't know if he's going to say something now or not. No, yeah, I just later.
Yeah, actually, I've got a call in with one of the consultants that submitted for it this Wednesday, and so after that, I'll have 2 more calls to make confirm they're still interested in. Mr. Cochran and I've talked about it, and he will either gladly or just willing to get that moving along, except managing the project from that point. So I'll let you know in the next meeting where we're at with that process. So.
That's all I had, Your Honor.
No, thank you. Councilwoman Germaini.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to thank Director Tolstead for your communication, your written communication that you gave us in email. It's very refreshing, and thank you for the update tonight as well. And like I said, you're going to do a great job. You have a lot of work to do, I know, but it was nice to see everything in writing and everything you've done step by step so far. Also, congratulations to our entire police department. What an honor to get an accreditation award, and we should all be proud that our city has that award. And good luck to all the candidates, and get out there and vote if you haven't already voted. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple quick comments. First, again, congratulations, Monroe Police Department and all the officers and their work in the accreditation. It's something that's very important, and being one of the earlier communities and departments to be receive that accreditation and the statewide is commendable. And I know that the Mayor's Association had a presentation. It's probably been 3 years ago now from the representatives that were here this evening. And you'd see that's carrying on through that association group and conversation. So that might be something that they'll continue on. First, thanks for the reminder on the policy. I will send that along, and I have that plus some additional information. Of course, tomorrow is the election. That'd be everybody, please vote. I know there's. I'll leave most of the conversation with the clerk. I'm just going to just a brief intro. I know that I had contact with the Monroe News today because they did run an article on Sunday, and I received a very nice response back, because I thought it kind of alluded to the fact that maybe about precinct voting, that only precincts voted precinct council members. But I think that they've already corrected that on their online to make sure we understand. I'm going to leave that to the clerk to kind of clarify and speak to the voting here within our community, because she does a great job at managing our elections, and I think it's appropriate to have her. But so if you anybody that read that article, I'll let the clerk talk about calls that she may have received, but did speak with Monroe News or communicate with them, and they have kind of clarified that, just as we will as well. But Clerk Treasurer LaVoy.
Well, thank you. I'm actually going to start with ALCC though first. My daughter and a friend of hers were down at one of the art classes, and I think it was last Thursday, or it was the last couple weeks have been a blur. But it was recently, and I have to say that place was really hopping. It was it was just really great to see everybody there. Stephanie was there. It was the evening, but she was still there working. So a lot is clicking there, and I think there's great things happening and more great things to come. Yes, tomorrow is election day. So it is, if you live in the city of Monroe, you will report to your precinct, or if you still have your absentee ballot, you should go ahead and plan to turn that in if you prefer to vote that way. Those absentee ballots, we have about 600 or so that are still outstanding. If you want to return it as a voted ballot, then just bring it here to City Hall and make sure it is here by 8 o'clock. You can still put it in the drop box. We will be checking the drop box. We will have somebody out there at 8 o'clock. But if it comes in at 8:01 or 8:02, we aren't allowed to count it. Also, I really recommend you not putting it in the mail. The post office and I had a conversation today. They're going to do everything they can to flag those and grab them when they receive them at the post office. If somebody hands it in, they're willing to bring it down here, but you just don't want to chance it. So the drop box is open right now. There's a light on it. There's a camera on it. It's perfectly safe. So if you're hearing this, and if you're hearing it at 5 a.m. tomorrow, it's okay. We don't have to be open for you to turn that AV ballot in. So make sure you remember that. If you have an AV ballot and say, hey, I don't want to vote AV, I want to show up at the precinct, that's fine as well. But please bring that blank AV ballot with you when you show up at your precinct, and that just makes the process go smoother when we have to spoil the unvoted ballot and issue you a ballot to vote in the precinct. You cannot, we get this every election, but you cannot bring your absentee ballot and just vote that one in the precinct. You have to be issued a ballot in the precinct. So that's really important to remember. Let's see what else. Precincts open at 7, and if you are unsure of where to vote, our office is available at 734-384-9140, or if you have any other voting questions, you can still register to vote up until 8 o'clock, but again, you have to be in line at our office at 8 o'clock to register to vote in order to be able to do that. I would recommend, if you have to register to vote, coming about 7:30, just to make sure you get registered and you get your ballot in time. Finally, as the mayor mentioned, there has been some questions from voters about the city election. So we have the mayor's race, we have the clerk treasurer's race, and then council is on there by precinct. So I've had a number of questions today, but in the weeks leading up to today about, well, if I vote in the mayor's race and in the clerk's race, and for my precinct representative of my choosing, I can't vote for any of the other races. And that's simply not true. And this goes for even I love talking elections, so I hope I'm not going on too long, but it's even years. When you get a ballot, whatever is on that ballot it's there for you to vote. So whatever you see printed on the ballot are races that if you choose to vote in them, go ahead and vote in them. But just to clear this up, the City of Monroe Council election is an at-large election. So our Director of Communications really said it best on our Facebook page. Residents vote for one representative from each precinct across the city and are not limited to voting only for those running in their precinct of residence. The City of Monroe is divided into 7 precincts, and all seats are up for re-election with each voting cycle limited, and they are 2-year terms. So again, you can vote for your precinct, but then you can choose to vote for all of the others. You may also choose not to vote for all of the others. Whatever combination of that you want to be involved with, go right ahead. You can even turn in a blank ballot. So make your choice, but just know that everything on your ballot that you can see, you are eligible to vote in those races. I think that's it.
That's good.
That's
Good
it.
review. Appreciate that.
That's it.
Mr. Pastou.
One item, Your Honor, I know at council update you received it, but for the public, our committee regarding the responsible bidder ordinance, we've met a couple of times and will likely meet one more time, but the intent would be to have a first reading at the November 15th meeting. So that's progressing along. So other than that, I don't have anything else. So.
Your Honor, I have one more thing.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I forgot to mention for the residents and also for council, we do have a canvas meeting, the council per charter, and Mr. Buds can speak to it if necessary as well. But charter spells out that we must meet by the second day following the election at 8 p.m. at our regular meeting place to canvass the votes. So we'll bring you, it usually doesn't take very long. I will have a document prepared for you, and you'll vote for the canvas. I'll give you a few details about the election. So just want to remind everyone, 8 o'clock on Thursday, November 4th, per charter.
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
here in Chambers. So thank you for bringing that up as well, but that canvass the vote is Thursday, November 4th, 8 p.m. here in council chambers. Thank you, clerk. Citizens' comments. Any comments from those present here this evening? Any comments from those present? Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lower, supported by Councilman Feller to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Echoangeli?
Yes.
Vining? Jermaine?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. And thank you all.